Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from rough and rugged Wyoming. Always rough, always rugged, sometimes Wyoming. Here at the ranch, and I wanted to make a video talk a little bit about kind of a okonomiyaki of related topics. So conferences, AMAs, interviews, things like Twitter Spaces, and just overall hanging out. So, as many of you know, I have a very diverse palette of interests and businesses. And some of you, most of you came in through the Cardano door, but a lot of you are starting to get interested in other things I'm doing. For example, I own an autoluminescent synthetic biology company. We're making enormous progress there, and very soon we'll have some great announcements. I'm invested in companies like Colossal that are bringing back the woolly mammoth. I raise bison, and there's a lot of really cool, interesting things that are going on there for this ranch. I have the health clinic up in Gillette, Wyoming, that we just opened up. I also am getting into the restaurant business, in addition to the gargantuan pile of work for Cardano. And we have had a little bit of back and forth about what's the best way of people engaging in those topics, talking about those topics. So my style tends to be long form, somewhat cerebral conversations. So where I've excelled historically has been podcasts like the Lex Friedman podcast or long form interviews, and I'll sit down for several hours and have a dialogue with somebody. That's why I kind of like the Twitter Spaces and the AMA format, and I've focused there. You've probably noticed that media has been a bit sporadic. Sometimes I'm on Fox Business, sometimes I'm on Bloomberg, sometimes doing various different things with traditional media and print, like Wall Street Journal or others like that. Fortune is one, the FT is another. And what we're trying to do is internally figure out what's the best way moving forward of managing all that media and getting something rather continuously into the domain about various things. But I like interactive medium. I personally feel that print journalism is a dying medium because it's very opinionated, highly biased, usually always has an agenda, and it's a one-way thing. They broadcast to you and tell you what to think, as opposed to you having the ability to interact with me and be part of the story too, and be part of the conversation too. So what I figured would be prudent is to take a step back and actually have a call to action about people who have ideas and suggestions about how to pull all of these different things together and how one should actually run a dialogue in 2023. So what I really am interested in is your comments and feedback about the platforms you like using, including next generation platforms like, for example, Gab and Mastodon, and the upcoming app protocol stuff that Jack Dorsey's doing, legacy social media like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, these types of things. Whether you consume more 30-second to minute clips like YouTube Shorts or these things, or you like the long form. And if you do read things, what publications do you read, and how do you like to consume them? And also, what topics would you like me to get involved with? I will always continue to talk about Cardano, but what we're trying to do is structure those conversations towards specific things. For example, we have 1694 coming up. In July, there's going to be a workshop in Edinburgh, Scotland. And that's going to be the closing workshop to aggregate the feedback of the 43 SIP 1694 workshops that are going to be held over the next 2 months, and basically come together with a final candidate to basically be deployed to a test net and voted on by the community, whether they want to approve that or not as the approach forward. There's going to be an enormous amount of discussion about 1694 and a lot of opportunity to engage there. So that's an example of a Cardano-oriented conversation. In July and beyond, there's going to be a lot of conversation about the MBO and how to join it, what to do with it, all these kinds of things, because that infrastructure is now where it needs to be. It's building up, it's bubbling up. Then you have other things, other considerations, like, for example, the future roadmap of Cardano. And there's going to be a huge discussion about that. There's conferences. Rare Bloom or Rare Evo, or whatever they're calling it these days, the CNFT Con, and then the Cardano Foundation Summit that's in Dubai. All of those things are on the horizon in the next 6 months. So obviously there's going to be a whole message house, and what we're going to try to do is be very creative in the ways to engage there. But if there are other things, other discussions one would like to have and engage with, it would be really prudent to find the best format medium for that. So I love crowdsourcing things. I'm a very open source guy. And to me, it makes a lot of sense to kind of solicit feedback and ideas from people in the community about different tools, techniques, platforms, and things that are important to them. And then my hope is to aggregate all these comments together and then have that help inform some of the internal discussions that we've been having. And again, this is not specific to Cardano. This is specific to all of the endeavors that I'm involved with, from going and looking for aliens with Avi to resurrecting dead animals, to plants that glow, to a whole bunch of other cool items in my day-to-day life. Another thing you'll notice is that we've been doing some live action shots. JJ has been filming those, and I think he's been doing a phenomenal job with it, of just capturing a moment. For example, I was with my brother recently on the ranch. He came down for Memorial Day and would say, hey, let me show you around a few things. And so we were driving around in a UTV, and JJ just happened to have his phone and recorded that encounter, put it all together, and made a lo-fi track. Very easy to do that, very fun, but it kind of gives you a day in the life of various things that we do. And hopefully we're going to be able to keep making content like that. So if you enjoy that content, do let me know. And if you want other types of content or very specific content, do let me know. And kind of give me a sense of what do you think the best way is to interact. On the interview side, a lot of people do reach out, and we're in the process of figuring out a better way to handle that incoming flow for interviews. Usually people just PM me over Twitter, or they publicly invite me, or they ask, or they make a video call to action, something like that. I say, that's great, that's exciting. And my hope is to be a little bit more structured with it. I do enjoy doing interviews, especially with smaller podcasts who are just getting started, because it gets them a little bit of notoriety and it pushes them along. Although there are also the usual suspects that we go through. So if you are a member of the media, you do have a podcast, and you are interested in interview, put something in the comments, but also give some suggestions about, as a podcaster, what would be most helpful for you guys and how to do that. So I hope this video helps. I'm always a believer in the power of community and open source. Please do share the video. Please do propagate it as far as you can, because I'm interested in honest feedback. And put in the comments section in YouTube or on Twitter on the live stream your thoughts, and hopefully we can aggregate all those together and use it as part of our plans moving forward. So thank you all for listening. Talk to you guys soon.